Oh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Snail Mail.
This is the fun segment that we get to do with you guys whenever you call in and leave us a voicemail. That phone number is area code 916-345-4744.
I like it a lot. We got some fun voicemails on the docket for you guys today. We haven't listened to any of them, but there's the first one here. I think is going to be an interesting topic. We may end up having to just turn it into a Monday episode, I think, based on the first couple sentences.
Okay.
All right. So this one, it looks like is from a Marcus. I don't know how other words. Marquise. There you go.
It's French.
That's
from
a fancy
Canada.
one. Yeah. All right. Let's hear what Mark's got to say today.
Hey guys, love your show. My name is Mark. Hey, I think a really good episode that you guys might want to do is on preparing for a build of your truck. A lot of us don't have the resources to be able to do it all ourselves. And, I do own an 04 4Runner, V8 full drive that I bought brand new. And, over the years, I slowly modified it and developed suspension for it and stuff. But I got to the stage where I really wanted to be able to crawl with it far better. And so I went for a solid axle swap. The company that built it ended up being charlatans. He was actually a friend of mine here in California. Had a pretty good reputation for building solid axle trucks. He had my truck for 2 years. Every time I spoke to him, it was like, yeah, we're getting it done. Send me photos. Later, I'd find out that those photos were actually copies of other parts from other trucks. And, the whole time, because I had nothing in writing with him other than conversations, I never had anything to go back on and say, here's what we agreed to. Let me give you one small example. I had ordered coilovers, 14-inch ADS, top-of-the-line coilovers, adjustables, 14 inches. I ended up being given 10-inch non-adjustables, and that's how he handed over the truck to me. Another time when he handed over the truck to me, I lost all my steering and wandered across 4 lanes of traffic down here in California, doing about 45 mile an hour. My wife in the car slammed into the barrier on the side of the road. Luckily, the barrier was there because the drop-off on the side was about 100 feet. Probably would have died from that experience. My point being is that someone who wants to really set up and build their truck, shop around for your builder, but more importantly, really start documenting with your builder and writing down step by step what you're expecting to do, what you're expecting to achieve, how much things are cost, set down some timelines. Sure, the timelines can get blown out. We know that. But I just think it's really informative for those people who don't have the resources to be able to build by themselves. So anyway, keep up with the good work, guys. I really appreciate you guys on this podcast. It's awesome. And keep it up. Okay, cheers. Bye.
Mark does not sound like he's from California.
No, I was
just
trying
FYI.
to figure out that accent. He's either, it's an English accent of some sort, whether it's Australian, South American, or England. I can't tell.
Yeah, I think
he's
it's
not
Australian.
Kiwi.
No, he's not Kiwi. Yeah, and he's not South African.
Okay.
I think it's either Australian. I think it's Australian.
Oh, okay.
Personally, but yeah, holy fuck.
Yeah, that's not a great story at all.
Jesus Christ.
Damn, Mark, I am sorry to hear that. I'm sorry the off-road industry that in the off-road industry happened to you. That's so. Yeah, I bet you that guy's no longer in business.
I hope he's no longer in business. Wow. Jesus. So where to begin and where to untangle that? There's
let me go. I'll start.
Okay.
I think that one of the things that needs to be done, whether you're dropping your rig off with a buddy or at a shop, you definitely need to set clear goals, right?
100%.
You need to ask no matter what, every single time, even if like I do some graphic design work on the side. Whenever I am taking on graphic design work on the side, one of the questions I ask is, what is your expectation time-wise on this job?
Yeah.
Right. And that's, And I asked them that. Maybe I should get it down in writing now that after listening to this thing, you know, and or text messages, right? Text messages, and you can scroll back and screenshot them and send them to people. So I think that, you know, there are some questions that you should always be asking, and whether it's a small independent person doing the build or a large company, you need to be asking those questions. And hopefully if it's a big company, they're putting things down in writing. And maybe if it's a small company, you need to be putting those down in writing and actually creating some sort of contract with somebody that you're dropping it off. Even a buddy. I will go as far as even a buddy. If you've got a good friend of yours that's going to be taking on some of the work, it's easier to keep a friendship if you have some rules of what you expect written down.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue it's more important to just at least have text messages, bare minimum, because it creates a paper trail. And this is just this is one of the big lessons I've had to learn in business.
As a business, yes.
Is that there's no such thing as, I don't want to say handshake agreements, as word of mouth agreements. They just don't exist. Never count on them existing.
Okay.
Doesn't matter whether you're saying, giving something as a to-do list to one of your employees, whether they're requesting something of you. It just doesn't exist, because we as human beings, especially nowadays, and we've been trained this way due to social media, is our attention span as human beings is very, very short and limited. Very few people nowadays have auditory learning abilities.
Okay.
Most of us are all either hands-on or visual learners, right? So we retain information that way the best. The worst way for people to retain information right now is auditory.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it doesn't matter, even if like you're just like trying to do it to create a contract or whatever. It's just making it, because human beings are human beings and we're going to forget stuff.
Right.
So having it in writing, whether it's an email, text message, on a napkin, I don't care what it is, as long as it's written down somewhere. So you have a reference point to go back to. And this is one of my biggest pet peeves is I 100% will forget what people tell me. Usually because I'm thinking about other stuff while people are talking to me.
Yep.
And my brain is already going. And so like I get on my employees, I'm like, do not call me with stuff. Like, call me if we need to talk about and hash stuff over. But if you need something done, it has to be texted or emailed to me, or it will not get done.
Yes.
And I'll try and get it done, but I'm just telling them it will not get done.
Right.
Like, do not count on it ever getting done unless it's in writing to me.
One of the things I do with Tyler is I'll call him to discuss something like, this is what we have coming up. This is what we got going. How do you want to approach this? And then when we're done with the conversation, I text him the conclusion of our conversation.
It is extremely helpful. Yeah. So it's just, I mean, it's not anything malintent. It's not anything to be non-trustworthy or anything. It's just to help people remember, because people are people.
Yeah.
And
I think you have to approach it that way.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that, you know, Mark had a very sour subject happen to him. And I think, and I appreciate you for bringing it up to us, Mark, because I think this is a good learning lesson for anybody out there in any market that you're in.
Yes.
Right. Where in any market that you're in.
Yeah.
Because if you create a paper trail, you can always reference it.
Yeah. 100%.
And you can go back to it.
Yep.
As much as people enjoy phone calls, I'm more old school. I want to talk to somebody. I like talking to people. I'm a person that enjoys communicating via voice, not through text on a screen. For one reason, I can't read. But if that paper trail is there, you can reference it. You can go back to it. You know, both parties can go back to it. It's an easy way to make a remembering mark. And if you approach it as, hey, here's a conclusion of what we talked about, so just in case we need to go back and reference this later, then, you know, I think that's a great form or a great avenue to do it in. And whether it's an email or a text message or a mailed snail mail, you know, whatever it is, there needs to be that. And I think that, especially if you're at the building or at a location, you can just hand write something up and snap a photo of it.
Yep.
And be like, just so we're both on the same page, these are the things I'm expecting.
Yep.
Or this is a timeline that I'm expecting it. Or this is the work that I'm planning on giving you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
One or the other. And yeah, I think that that's definitely something that every avenue should have. And I know the buddy handshake or the, I'm a good friend and I'll take care of that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, like, just as Mark kind of pointed out, it happens on their timeline.
Yep.
At that point.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. It's a good practice to do. And nobody should ever be offended either if you're requested to write stuff down, or if somebody gives you something in writing, like a buddy is like, oh, hey, just FYI, here's what we talked about. Yeah. Here's the what we agreed upon, or whatever it is. Right. It just helps keep, I don't want to say keep everybody honest. It just helps everybody remember what's going on.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a lot going on in life. Everybody's situation is different, especially if it's a home builder or a buddy that's maybe doing something in a shop on their spare time. They probably have other parts laying around the shop. And if they misplace your really nice 14-inch ADS shocks, it could happen. And they're like, oh, I think he dropped off these 10s. That's what I remember. Right.
Right.
And I honestly, I think that Mark got the raw deal on that. I don't think it doesn't sound like it was a mishap, unfortunately, but I mean, shit happens, and just put something in writing just to at bare minimum have a reference point in case somebody's like, no, I thought you said you dropped off 10-inch shocks.
Right.
Not 14s and kind of thing. So that's a awesome example. I'm really glad Mark called in, because that is a big thing. I think that there's some other stuff in that we could kind of turn into a Monday episode, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could absolutely turn that into a Monday episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yes, once again, Mark, sorry that happened to you, man. That sucks. And yeah, I think it just goes to show that you can't always trust friends, to some extent like that.
Yeah.
As much as somebody would call a friend, you should still set priorities and set rules, or, whatever. Expectations. Yeah.
Clear and concise expectations. I'm a big fan of them. And like I said, don't ever be offended if somebody asks you to make clear and concise expectations. It helps everybody in any situation, in my opinion.
Right. And I'll go out and say, like, if somebody says like, hey, how long, if the shop message or asks you like, hey, when do you need this back?
Yeah.
Or when do you want it? Don't say whenever.
Yeah. Whenever. I'm not in a big hurry.
Yeah. You could say whenever, but say something like, would 3 months be okay?
Yeah.
Or like 4 months, or, what, like a time that is, put a time down.
Yes.
Is really what it comes down to.
Always put a time deadline down.
Yeah. You say whenever, it means to them, I don't need to get to it.
Yep. A very low priority. I don't need to get to it.
Yeah. So. I'll work on it 5 minutes here and there until it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So even at that point, say, kind of just turn it back onto them. Like, say, I'm not really in a rush. How long do you think it will take you to get it done?
Yeah.
And then they'll go, oh, I don't know, a matter of months. And so then you go, oh, okay. So November.
Yeah. Yep.
And they go, okay, yeah. And then when you respond or you message them back in the conclusion of your conversation, say, and you said you would be able to complete this by November.
Yep. I agree. 100%.
But yeah, anyway, we're beating a dead horse here. I think that's the right phrase. But we'll continue on with this maybe about a whole entire, maybe we should get Rob or Ryan over here and he can sit down with us from Stellarbuilt.
Oh,
and he can kind of give us the rundown of how sort of Stellarbuilt brings in a customer and what they do, their process and everything. And so we can kind of use that company as a, how do companies do this?
Yeah. That'd be interesting. I think that'd be a fun episode.
Yeah.
Sweet. I like it.
And then maybe other companies out there can learn.
All right. Next up on the list is Mr. Rover.
Greg called in?
Greg called in.
Sweet.
Mr. Jethro. No, it's Donnie.
Oh, damn.
I know. Everyone's disappointed. Oh, he's even disappointed. So
Perfect. He's upset at his Rover?
Huh?
He's mad at his Rover?
Yeah, he bought a Toyota.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's been talking about selling the Rock Rover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Dude. Making good changes in somebody's life is always fun that we like doing here on the podcast.
This is why we started the podcast. Convert the world to Toyotas.
All right. Donnie, what do you got to say today, bud?
Mr. Tyler, and this is only for you, Mr. Tyler, because Jimmy's exempt on this one. He was off gallivanting around the land of the green there. What happened? You're late on the podcast. There's not even a Friday podcast. No voicemail. I'm very disappointed in you. Now, I know you died. That's no excuse. You have obligations. You are supposed to take care of this. We can't be out here. You can't leave us just hanging like that. Now, I've been in contact with certain other listeners. We feel that you're going to need some punishment for this, and we're formulating a plan. So you just stand by while we work this out. You'll know it when it comes. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Anyway, talk to you later.
Did his phone cut out right at the right time?
Yeah, I think so.
That's funny.
I wonder who he's talking to, Lance.
I know. Jeez, come on, Lance.
Could it be Lance?
God, I think it's probably Lance.
Maybe it's Lance.
Maybe it's Lance, Zach from Oklahoma, Beer Craig, him, JL Rodney, I would assume.
Probably, yeah. And maybe Chris.
Maybe Chris. Does Chris listen to us still?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I'm up to date on theirs, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm like a year and a half behind.
In one of their previous podcasts, maybe 2 or 3 ago, they said something about how they weren't going to talk about us anymore. So then I started going down this rabbit hole of a bunch of old episodes that I never really listened to try to find out when they discussed the fact that they weren't going to talk about us. I never found it. So I'm like 100% caught up on them now because I was like, I want to know when they said this. What did they say about us? When did I miss it?
They said it, I think, on like episode 2 or 3, I believe.
Yeah. And here they are 200 episodes in. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, my bad. It was a rough week that week with Jimmy gone and everybody in the house being sick. So
this is when I was in Ireland.
Oh, this wasn't Tennessee? Okay, yeah, I have no excuse then. Well, Jimmy's in Ireland. That was the Ireland one. That's funny. All right, let's see. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
We got Zach from Oklahoma.
All right, Stardew Valley.
What's up, Jimmy and Tyler? Zach from Oklahoma, calling in about the bed or the camper shell. So y'all made some comments about the Lexan and the panels that I'll be putting in for insulation. The insulation's only for when I'm doing winter camping. So, like, if I'm camping at any point in the year and they're not needed, I won't be using them. So, yes, one of the intended purposes is to be able to, like, see the stars while I'm camping and stuff. And I feel like no one ever thinks about Lexan for stuff like this. So that's part of the reason is uniqueness. I don't know if the weight difference between Lexan and ABS, though. But yeah, so like the panels will be there, but they won't be like a part of the camper shell, but they will be removable. That way, like I still have visibility, and like all the panels are gonna be Lexan if possible. The roof is the only thing I have questions on, whether Lexan is going to be sturdy enough for a long period of time. Like if I put stuff, because I'm going to be putting like a roof rack built in within the camper shell. So there'll be stuff on top. So I got to think about whether or not it's going to be structurally sound to put stuff on it for long periods of time and still take like the kinetic weight, not just like the static weight of the objects and stuff. Cause like it might be able to take 50 pounds static, but like once that 50 pounds becomes kinetic, it gets a little bit more weight and stuff because G-force and gravity and physics and stuff. But yeah, I've been doing some work today. Hope y'all enjoyed the rant that I called in about earlier. Y'all keep crawling. Have a good day.
I wonder if Zach could build like because wasn't he using extruded metal?
Extruded aluminum.
Yeah. So I wonder if you can build yourself a like boxed metal frame that you're attaching everything to. Yep. Right. And then all you're doing.
A roof rack.
Yeah, you're building or a bed rack.
A bed rack
you're building yourself a bed rack that you're attaching the Lexan to.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, you're screwing your your camper rack on top of the Lexan into your bed rack.
Yeah.
Through the Lexan, right?
Yep.
And so the Lexan at that point doesn't need to really be structural.
Nope.
It just needs to sort of stop some of the twisting probably that's going to happen in the bed rack.
Mm-hmm.
But the strength is all going to be coming from the bed rack,
the aluminum itself.
The aluminum extruded metal.
Yep.
So that's my 2 cents on that. But I totally understand that you're making insulated panels for the winter. So that's cool. That'll be rad.
I think it's going to be rad for the summer. Being able to sleep in there kind of under the stars, that would be super cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this completed. I want to see what it looks like. Yep. I'm also curious how you're making it watertight.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious too. With the panels to be removable, but also weatherproof.
Yeah.
So
if they're overlapping going on or is it one big plastic thing
cover
that you've molded or what? Yeah. I'm really kind of curious how that works out.
Yeah.
If you do want to share photos, you can either text them to the same phone number or you can do it on the Instagram or you can do it on iRate.
Yep.
Any way you want to do it.
Sweet. Let's see. Next one up is Montana Nick.
Awesome.
Let's see.
Ramsey Racing.
Yes, sir. Oh, we got Axle Talk. I'm excited.
Howdy, fellas. It's Moose from Montana, Nick, whatever you want to call me. I'll say him today, hey, dickhead. So I reached out to our kid on Instagram. Turns out he's going to be going to school here in Bozeman. So he has access to benders and welders and whatever other horrible financial mistakes I can talk him into. I think having just done or just built Super Duty axles for my Toyota, I will never do that again. It was so much extra work to get them to where it needed to be. I think that it might have been more expensive to do it with a fabricated axle, but it would have been a hell of a lot easier. I wouldn't have had back surgery in the middle of it from bending over and lifting up 1-ton fucking axles because I'm an idiot. And all of that. I think 609 axles are the way to go with the 9-inch center and Super Duty outers and Super Duty shafts, especially if you can buy stuff. Wind just blew my door open. I would set it up to run stock shafts, those 1480 shafts out of the Super Duty 60. People essentially give them away for junkyard build kind of stuff. And the same, you can pick up Sterling rear shafts too. They're all 35 spline. It's pretty bomber. So that's my 2 cents. Don't spend whatever $16,000 on junkyard Super Duty axles. Just bite the bullet and buy the real fabricated stuff and build it the way that you want it. So that's what I got. Love you. Proud of you. See you later.
That's the first time anybody's ever told me they're proud of me.
Really?
Oh, Nick. Nah, just kidding. My mom said it once before, I think. Once? When I was like 2.
Yesterday?
Yeah. No. Interesting. Okay. So fabricated housings, but everything else?
Stock inners. I think the main benefit to that, Super Duty outers is what he was saying.
Yeah. Okay.
So 9-inch fabricated housings with 9-inch centers and Super Duty outers.
I like it.
I like it. I think that's a really solid way to go. The benefit, the huge benefit to fabricated housings, which is exactly what he said, is packaging that pumpkin where it needs to be. Especially if you're going to 3-link it, just stuff gets tight under Toyotas. There's not a whole lot of room to package 3 links. And so being able to do a fabricated housing lets you put the pumpkin exactly where you need it to be, which means you may not end up being with just stock off the shelf shafts that you can get for free at a junkyard somewhere. You may have to have them custom cut to a particular length. But you can run the outside the stub shafts just fine. You just have to get, shortened or lengthened inner shaft.
Right. Yeah.
So
sounds more expensive to me, but
right. And it's like, it's time versus money, I guess. Like, are you going to try and find a way to package Super Duty axles under Toyotas? Although I hear 4-Wheel Underground has a very simple and straightforward ways to do that. Or do you get a fabricated housing, put it all in and put everything exactly where you need it to go?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. But with, now you're buying, to me, it seems like fabricated housings are bought roughly about the same cost as a set of 60s
right now. Yeah. You can find 99 to 04 Super Duty sets for like $200 to $300.
Yeah.
Like $200 for the front. And then
even 05 and ups.
05 and ups are like $700 to $1,000 for both axles right now.
Yeah.
You can find them pretty. I mean, it's amazing how cheap those axles are getting right now.
Right. So, and then you look at getting a pair of custom made axle housings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming those are like $800 a piece
minimum, depending where you get them from. Spider Tracks, bare housing, no knuckles on it or anything, is about $800 each, $850 each.
Yeah. So we're looking about the same price for one axle housing, maybe 2 if you get like not a Spider Tracks version.
Yeah.
That you can get. I mean, even if you get $1,500 for both axles, for Super Duty axles, front and rear, and you're looking at $1,500 to $1,600 for just axle housings. So
what's your time valued at?
It's a matter of, you got a complete set that you're going to have to figure out the setup or spend some, a little bit of money and get a really nice kit from 4-Wheel Underground.
Mm-hmm.
Or you spend a little bit more money to make a really killer set of axles that you can customize to fit your rig.
Yep. So that's the struggle of life though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Time versus money.
Time versus money.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Let's see. Two more.
Let's do one more.
Bend over.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, he's yelling at us about Ford 9-inch stuff.
Okay, great.
Here we go.
Hey, Jimmy and Tyler. Ben from Dover. Cheap axles, go buy a set of full width Damon 44 Ford 9-inch. You can find them on Marketplace all the time. You guys are going up on Broncos and stuff from half-ton axles to tons. I bought a set for $2,000. Gears, lockers, ARB in the front, $2,000. Buy a set of radius arms from a Bronco, throw those underneath, and then you just have to worry about steering. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, nothing fancy. SG.
But then I have Ford stuff.
I know. I was trying to find a way to make a Ford joke. No, that's another great option. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an aficionado at Facebook Marketplace. I don't know why it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
But I haven't trained Marketplace for some reason to show me axles.
Sure.
I don't know why, because like anytime an axle does pop up on there, I look at it. But I guess I don't look at them enough for Facebook to serve me all the axles.
You're clicking on other things. So I guess it has this variety of Tyler likes on there.
Yeah.
And you need to one day you just need to search at like 60, search 9-inch, search whatever, search, so 44s.
I should stop clicking on all the fleshlights on Marketplace?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or those random pictures of a mirror that has a girl like half naked in it. Yeah.
Mirror for sale, $10.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a nice mirror.
Yeah, you forgot that you're in the reflection there, darling. Yeah. No. I think it depends on what you drive there, Ben. Right? Like I don't think 44s are going to work under some of the bigger vehicles. And that's why a lot of like Jeeps are getting rid of the 44s because they want the extra strength. Now, if you're going to get a fully built set of 9-inch, then you might be able to use a lot of those parts and actually get a bigger fabricated housing that would work. But yeah, I'm not sure. I like the idea of a 9-inch ring and pinion, but I want bigger and better on the outside.
Got bigger outers.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Rock crawl, especially for rock crawling. Rock crawling is a ton of stress on your wheel bearings, knuckles, that kind of stuff. There's just a lot of lateral forces, bending and pulling as big levers on ball joints, on kingpins, on wheel bearings, spindles, whatever it is. So I really actually like the way Brian Flynn has his front axle set up.
Yeah.
44 centered with 60 outers.
Yes.
On it.
Yeah.
I really like that axle setup. So
yeah, absolutely. Me too. There's a name for that. I forgot what it was.
Super 44.
There it is. Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
But I do appreciate you calling in, Ben. And I'm sorry I missed you today. I wanted to do some Bronco talk with you.
Oh, he has not shut up asking about when you're going to be able to sit down and do Bronco talk with him.
Well, it happened yesterday on the podcast.
Yeah. All right. Should we do one more? We're at 35 minutes.
That was a short one.
All right. This one is Tom up in Oregon.
Tom, what up?
Yeah. This is a long one. Ooh, axle talk.
Again?
Here we go.
We're on a roll here.
Hey guys, this is Tom up in Oregon with Clinking Beards Strong again. I'm just calling in regards to the episode you guys have about budget. I actually have done some content on budget builds and thought maybe I could help some light on it. I actually have a second gen S10 that's on sport half-ton running gear, so the Dana 44 and the 9-inch that you guys were talking about in that episode. And I think that's actually a great way to, I think that's a great route to go for the average person. The big thing about running a 44 is that you have to remember that you're running a 44 and you can't go out there like you're a rock bouncer and beat the ever living daylights out of it. But I'm actually running 40-inch tires with factory axle shafts, and I've never once broken axle shaft in it. Now, granted, I haven't done a lot of heavy rock crawling with it, but I've been very extensive wheeling with it and in the process. But either way, just wanted to give you some information on that for the gentleman that had called in or written in about it. And if he actually wanted to me up on Instagram, I'd be more than happy to give him whatever information I have regarding those axles. And that's at Clinking Beards Strong on Instagram. Also, the other thing to note, you guys were wondering how to run 6-lug outers on a Ford 44 and that you use GM knuckles and everything from the GM knuckle out. So that'll be spindles, wheel bearings, rotors, brakes, all that stuff. And then there's a conversion U-joint to run the GM stub on the Ford inner. That's just one option. But with that being said, one thing that I've always preached about budget builds is you can go almost as cheap as you want if you're patient. There's always somebody out there, if you're willing to wait, that's going to sell something for super cheap. But either way, that's the information I guess I have, and I guess I will come back in if I think about anything else.
Cool. Did you get all that?
Yeah, I think so. It was breaking up quite a bit, but it did drop some really good information. So he likes the Dana 44 9-inch combo. He has it on his S10 or an S10 that he had. And he gave some good insight onto how to convert like a Dana 44.
Sorry.
And he gave some good insight onto how to convert a Dana 44 knuckle to run the same lug pattern that, you would have in the rear for the most part.
Yeah, the 6 on 5.5, which is typically a Chevy, I guess is a GM style lug pattern, 6 on 5.5. So it's the same as a Toyota Pattern 605.5. So, yeah, that's some good stuff. Obviously you can adapt and run almost anything, like he said. And I would heard anyways, I don't know where I'm going with that.
Sure.
His Instagram did not come out super well when he was saying it.
Okay.
If the original caller that was calling in or that messaged us and we did that episode on, wanted to reach out to Tom, it's Clinking Beard _Strong.
Okay.
On Instagram.
Cool. I'll throw it down in the show notes as well.
Yeah, cool. And he's got some pretty fun content there. Looks like he has a Tahoe or Suburban on some pretty big tires. He does a ton of S10. That's right. He said that. An S10 he does a bunch of snow wheeling with. So cool. That's some good stuff. I love Axle Talk podcasts. And it seems like you guys do too. Whenever we do I don't know if we've had this many callers in before about
axles.
About axles.
Well, we're still off that budget build conversation. Yeah. So that seemed to be a fun point that a lot of people had some good insight on, and a lot of great suggestions coming back from you guys about things that we didn't have a ton of information on, don't have the experience on, or just random ideas that you guys have. So for sure.
I like it a lot. That's why we do the snail mail segment on Fridays. So you guys can call in if we're talking about any topic on the show, Monday, Thursdays, or Fridays, and you guys want to reply to another caller or talk about axle stuff and different ideas and how to do budget axles. We always love hearing from you guys. 916-345-4744. Call in, leave us a voicemail. We'll play it, and you guys get to hear what we got to say about it. So
sounds good. And with that,
keep crawling.
We out.
There's another royalty.
The number you have called has been disconnected.